the Bear and Shell Show. Why don't you do the intro, baby? You do it. November 11th edition. So, it is November 10th, but as we get the day off tomorrow, of course, for what used to be called Armistice Day, I believe, and is now called Remembrance Day, I wanted to honor my wonderful grandfather, who I never met physically, but as you may or may not know, I am very intuitive and very close to the veil and very much an empath and very, I pick up energies. So me and my grandfather, I feel like have talked in the spirit world. He died very young, unfortunately. He was in the war, as so many men were, when he was very young. I believe the Second World War, perhaps even the First. And he died when my mom was 18 because, they didn't have a lot of health care back then and stuff like that went on. I think it was in the 50s, maybe. So I never knew him, but I feel close to him. I feel like we were a lot alike. So I want to honor him. He fought bravely in, I believe, both of the wars. And I think it was called the Canadian Expeditionary Force in one of the wars. And I'm not sure in the other wars. But he was definitely part of the Canadian military as well. So what we're going to do today is we're going to read the book. Because it's kind of a Bear's Book Corner too. Boom. A Poppy is to Remember. Now this is a Canadian book actually. Because of course, was it John McCrae was the one that wrote In Flanders Fields. Now this I believe is a First World War poem. And it is very powerful. In Flanders Fields, the poppies blow. Between the crosses, row on row, that mark our place, and in the sky, the lark, still bravely singing, flies, scarce heard, amid the guns below. We are the young. Short days ago, we lived, we loved, saw sunset glow. And then, who knew I remembered all that? We do memorize it back in the day. We had to memorize it. So, and so it's actually about Flanders Fields, which I believe is in Flanders, which I believe is in France. Don't quote me. But we were in a lot of Europe, of course, and we liberated a lot of Europe, actually. Canadians, actual Canadians. Liberated, and you don't hear that much. You don't hear about that as much as you do with the other countries. But we did a lot of very good things. Norway, I think, Belgium, I think, and I believe France too. Maybe even Holland. We did a lot of things, and of course England itself, we helped there because they certainly had some challenges, didn't they? But Winston Churchill, he got us through. Yeah. So say what you want, but Winston Churchill, he got us through. So this is the book, A Poppy is to Remember. And if you remember Braden, he is now doing production work at the moment because he's holding the iPhone. So, here we are, people. And baby's just resting. You can say, there he is. He's just resting. Well, we gotta sing our Bear's Book Corner song. Yes, we do. Yes, we do. You need to help. Baby. Okay. Baby. Okay. He's like, all right. He was just getting ready to listen to it. He was getting ready to listen to it. So, but we've got to do our stuff. The people are looking. The people are looking. Okay. Bear's Book Corner. Bear's Book Corner. Bears book corner right now. Boom, boom, boom. Bears book corner. Bears book corner. Bears book corner right now. Boom, boom, boom. Thank you, baby. Okay, so we can go back to the back. Right on, this is the back. It's a Canadian book. Got it from Scholastic, which is a good company as well. Let's read the back first, shall we? A poppy used to remember those far from home, crossing troubled lands and threatening waters and dangerous skies. Each day, on Remembrance Day, we honor those who gave so much to serve their country and to those who risked their lives even today and in many troubled areas of the world. With simple yet resonant words and illustrations, A Poppy is to Remember reminds us why we wear the poppy so proudly on Remembrance Day, lest we forget. All right. And I also have this. She's the same author, if you remember the I Am Canada book from my Canada Days stuff. This is her. She's the same author, Heather Patterson, and she did I Am Canada. And I think I have Thanks for Thanksgiving. Actually, I think I have that one too. So let's read this, people. Okay, now it might be a little harder for you to see it because I'm on my iPhone, but I'll try and see what I can do. There it is. Because, of course, back in the day, horses were a big part, especially because this is about the First World War. Once there was a long and terrible war, a war some called the Great War. Many young men went off to fight, and many did not return home to their families because, of course, women were not in combat at that point because this was like 1918. 1914. So let's see. But still in the muddy fields where they fought, wild poppies sprang up, glowing brightly. See? And of course there's the barbed wire because they're trying to keep the enemy out. An army doctor, weary from tending the wounded, wrote a poem about that war and about those poppies. In Flanders fields, so we'll see if I remembered it right. In Flanders fields the poppies blow, between the crosses, row on row, that mark our place, and in the sky, the larks, still bravely singing, fly, scarce heard, amid the guns below. We are the dead. Short days ago we lived, felt dawn, saw sunset glow, loved and were loved. And now we lie in Flanders fields. Take up our quarrel with the foe. To you from failing's hands we throw. The torch, be yours to hold it high. If ye break faith with us who die, we shall not sleep, though poppies grow in Flanders fields. I think that poem should make everybody emotional. In some ways, because they really did do such a good job, and I think people forget. Right? Now, okay, did you see this? See, you see this part? There it is. Okay, gonna keep going. His poem was read far and wide, and when the war finally ended, on November 11th, 1918, people everywhere celebrated the return to peace. Because at that time, everybody hoped there would never be another war. But there was. A poppy is to remember those far from home, crossing troubled lands. And there are people doing that right now. Right now, there are people doing that. And threatening waters and dangerous skies. Right? So that's a big issue, obviously. It is for the wounded and for those who cared for them. My grandpa was wounded. He was in England. It is for the dead and those who carried on without them. And many a woman got this letter saying that her husband wasn't coming back. Or her son. It is for the brave ones. This is when Canada was good. Okay? This was for the brave ones who remain and their memories of that battle. This is when Canada was good. Not that it's not good now. It's good now. But it was very, very good then. Right? When people looked like this. I remember those days a little bit. A poppy is for peace. So that's why we lay wreaths in schools. Because I was in schools for a really long time. And we have beautiful Remembrance Day ceremonies. And we also lay wreaths. And of course on TV, you can see them lay wreaths as well. Every year on Remembrance Day, it blooms across our land, lest we forget. Everybody's seen that, right? We've all seen that on the TV. A poppy is to remember. And this man came home. And he had medals. Look at his medals. And that's the story. Bear's coming back. Did you want to say anything? Okay. What did you think, people? What did you think of the story? It's a very good one. I think so. We read it every Remembrance Day. And hopefully you will as well. Well, thanks everybody for this wonderful morning. And I hope you do have a great day. And I hope you get to enjoy the freedom that Remembrance Day has bought you. And me. And everybody. And let's remember that. So, all right. The Bear and Cheryl Show. Peace.